Welcome to BizTech's Personal Finance Show. Now, today we explore the topics of whether or not millennials know enough about investment and are they investing enough. Now, here to give his insights is Weiyi, General Manager of FSMOne Malaysia. Weiyi, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for inviting me.
Now, Weiyi, before we start, could you give us an overview of FSMOne and your relationship with iFast?
Right, of course. So iFast Capital in Malaysia is the licensed entity for us to deal with a variety of regulated products. So we are licensed by SC as well as Bank Negara in Malaysia. And FSMOne is the online entity where clients, is a B2C platform. So clients would have a platform to do their investment via FSMOne. So they come to us directly, open an account and buy the investment that they would like. And of course, iFast Capital ultimately is owned by iFast Corporation in Singapore.
Which is SGX owner, right? The ultimate owner.
Listed since 2014.
Yeah. And what are your focus areas in Malaysia? Who are you looking to attract as your customers?
We attract a variety of customers in Malaysia. Of course, a lot of the younger investors would like to use us as well because we are online platform. They are more comfortable with using online platform. And of course, a lot of products that we provide clients with, including unit trusts, managed portfolio bonds, you can get them at a very low investment amount, starting from around 1,000 ringgit. And the charges are also very low compared to the traditional way. If you get it via agent or via banks, you probably will have to pay a little bit higher in terms of fees.
Okay, so what sort of fees? And when you say it's lower, what are your fees like?
In terms of the unit trust fees, our maximum is 1.5% sales commission. And if you get it from agents, it could range from 3 to 5%, right? And if you get it from the banks, I believe it's closer to 2 to 3%.
Okay. And what sort of services and products do you offer now?
For investors, we offer quite a wide variety. Initially, we started off with a unit trust. Then along the way, we have added bonds. So investors can invest directly in bonds, be it corporate bonds or Malaysian government bonds. Okay. And we have also added managed portfolios. If investors get a bit confused by the 600 plus funds that we offer from 29 fund houses, right? You can subscribe to the managed portfolios where our portfolio management team will manage it for them. And most excitingly, recently we have launched our stocks trading platform in Malaysia as well. So now investors can get their access to unit trusts, bonds, managed portfolios, as well as stocks on FSMOne Malaysia.
And what are your transaction fees like for stocks trading?
Stocks, we are just charging investors 5 basis points.
Okay.
To a minimum of 880 ringgit. Okay. And the good news is for the month of April, we are waiving the brokerage fee. So it's 0 commission.
Okay. Okay. And obviously your target, one of the big targets is millennials. Now they are essentially the future. They've been driving retail markets. But what are the investment trends that they are looking at right now? They're obviously very different in terms of their investor appetite from, say, 50-something-year-olds.
Right. So what we see on our platform is, of course, millennials. First, a lot of them picked up investing over the past year. Okay. We have seen explosion in account openings, and a lot of these millennials have joined us. And when you join us, you're right, they are much more aggressive in their product selection. And what interests them, I noticed, would be really technology-related funds. Okay. So I guess it's because the returns that the technology sector has provided in 2020 was very good. And most of the names in the technology sector, they will be able to, they know them better.
Okay, so do you think that they have more of an appetite for names that they know, for example, in the US and so forth, in terms of what they trade, or in China, perhaps, for example?
Yes, I guess it's not just with millennials. This biasness towards things that you know, it will apply to millennials, it will apply to even more experienced investors. So for example, the wealthier, older crowd, they will be familiar with Malaysian stocks here. So of course, they will be buying a lot more into Malaysian equities. Their portfolios will look predominantly Malaysian equities.
Correct.
So for the younger ones, they don't have that huge of a bias. Then they will be gravitating towards US stocks, technology names.
Okay, and you correctly pointed out, and this is a global phenomena. The millennials came into the retail stockbroking scene in droves in the last 1 year, whereas you've had whether it's SGX or Bursa Malaysia, there was a historical downtrend over the last 10 years. What do you think the three main reasons were that have been driving millennial interest to invest?
I guess unfortunately the world went through COVID.
Yeah.
So there is this a period of time where everybody would spend more time at home because of various lockdown, whether is it in Singapore or in Malaysia, and they have plenty of time to read out on things. So I guess investment is one thing that got a bit more interesting for them, because initially during the COVID crisis, well, a lot of the physical brick and mortar shops have to be closed. But on the e-commerce side, they remain open. I think that sparked some interest in the millennials looking for somewhere to invest. And of course, if you look at the job market, for graduates, they would have had a hard time trying to secure jobs last year. So during this lull period, I think they made good use of their time to try to learn up on investment.
I see. So essentially, day trading became a job. As opposed to a part-time thing, it became a full-time thing. So that's what you see in the region?
Yes. In the region, in Malaysia also, a lot more active tradings.
Okay. And do you think that millennials are investing enough, or are they trading, or both? Because there's a very big distinction that we need to make. Value investing, trading. Is trading more the buyer behavior that is associated with a millennial?
If we look at the volume of transaction which spike up so much, I think a lot of these millennials or even existing investors, they are trading a lot more during last year's volatile markets. So whether they are investing enough, meaning that are they setting aside more of their income to put into investment, that I don't really have data to comment on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess they have learned a lot more about investing. They are investing a bit more, but whether they are doing it enough to save for retirement in terms of setting aside a larger sum of their income, that I won't be able to comment.
Okay, and are they trading on margin? So a lot of these online platforms offer margin accounts. So whether interactive brokers or so forth, they offer margin trading. Do you guys offer that as well?
No, at FSMOne, it has to be pre-funded. So no margin trading, unfortunately, for margin traders. If you see it positively, then we are trying to restrict some of the damage for investors who don't really know what they're trading in.
Yes.
But
go ahead, sorry.
On a global basis, if you look at the margin debt, right, leveraged by investors who are trading on margin, that has been quite on an upwards trend. So it's quite worrying.
Yes, and I think when the party stops, I think you've got a lot of times it's a small investor who is over leveraged, and that whole GameStop scenario is really a classic example of where the small investor was left holding the baby.
Right. I guess that's definitely a case of euphoria when they were pushing up the stock. And I'm sure a lot of the investors who didn't know what they were doing when they jumped in, they are holding on to the bag, they are suffering some losses. The best thing I can hope out of this is they learn their lessons and do some maybe fundamental analysis before they go into the stock.
Now, in your platforms, do you have any sort of research documents that will assist retail investors to research stocks?
On our website, yes, we have financial data of various counters. we work with Morningstar. They are the provider for the information. So you'll be able to get access to fundamental information, things like market cap, PE, PB ratios. Those are available.
Okay, and that's a big difference. So fundamentally, if you look at, say, 5 years ago, the access to real-time data and also quality research has gone up exponentially. So the normal retail trader like myself doesn't have a Bloomberg terminal in front of him, but thanks to Morningstar or the equivalent, you've got very good data to then do analysis if you are a fundamental investor.
Yes, yes. Whether you are fundamental, you are technical trader right now, most of the brokerages would be able to provide you with a lot more data compared to, say, 5 years ago.
Now, can you tell me what is the most common misconception about investing?
Right. Yes, there are actually many ways to trade. So I'm not too sure whether I'll be the right person to position this as a misconception. For me, I'm a fundamentalist. I look at fundamentals before I invest, and I'm prepared to invest for a long period of time. So when I look at some of the people who trades very often, day trader, and yeah, for me, I look at it and I'll give them a frown because you know, it's, to me, it's not really timing the market. It's about the time that you spend in the market. So if you don't really know what you're doing, the chances are the more transactions you carry, the more transaction costs you incur, and at the end of the day, you may end up with some losses. So for me, I think it's really spending time in the market. It's not so much about finding the best timing to invest in the market or finding the best stock. You could just put your money in some diversified ETFs and then hold them for a long period of time. End up you'll be you
will outperform many funds. Well, historically.
Yes, you outperform many funds, especially in the developed countries, and you will probably do better than picking stocks yourself. Because it's very important that for these fund managers, I think if you put it in fund managers or you just diversify across the stocks, it's really important for someone to really look at stocks and think about when you make money, is it because of the skill or is it because of luck? If you think that a lot of your trading success came from luck, then maybe you need to consider about your strategy.
Yeah, and the reality is with all business and transactions and so forth, it's really a combination. If you put in the work, you still must have some luck over a long period of time to make sure that you make money. But what would you advise first-time investors who say, hey, I've got this new platform, FSMOne, and I want to start trading with this platform as well as other platforms. What would you advise them to do?
Right. I think maybe even before coming to my platform, just as a general advice to anyone who is going to think about investing for the first time, the first thing is really trying to get your investment regulated, as in get regulated investment products, and do it on regulated platform. In Malaysia, that would be Securities Commission. In Singapore, it would be MAS. So it is very important. I mean, in recent times, there are a lot of scams out there.
Yes, and I think in Malaysia, that has been a huge problem in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yes. So this is something that we want to avoid. The first thing that people, when they are asked to do in investment, check whether that product or that platform is regulated, right? Then if you're an investor and we are fortunate enough to have you on board FSMOne as our client, then you'll probably be shocked by the amount of products that we have. So for investors who do not have trading experience, I'll really encourage them to take a look at our managed portfolios. So on our managed portfolios, you just have to take a look and do a suitability assessment, see whether you are a conservative investor or more aggressive type, and then we will recommend a portfolio for you. Our fund manager will take charge of that investment and we will deploy into a variety of unit trusts. So it will be well diversified across global equities funds. It will be well diversified across bond funds as well to keep your capital safe. And for those who are a bit more adventurous, then they can start looking at our unit trust. Like I said earlier on, more than 600 from 29 fund houses. One good way would be go to our recommended funds. Then we'll shrink it to 30 plus funds for you to take a look. Those are like our chef's recommendation.
Ah, I see. And that was the question I was going to ask you. If you've got so many funds and I'm a newbie investor, how
Right.
do I even start to think about, I can't go through 600 funds. So
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
a little a short menu there that tells you, okay, these are 30 funds that will assist you. And I would assume that there's different risk portfolios attached to each of those 30 funds.
Yes, we have some risk rating that we have created to help investors understand the risk that they are taking. So
Okay.
generally, if you are bond funds, that will be on the lower scale of the risk rating. And if you are looking into global equity funds, we'll give it a risk rating of 7, around 7. And if you're looking at single sector equity fund, that will be the riskiest on our platform, we rate it as 10 on the risk scale.
Okay. So that's a very good way then for me if I'm starting, and even for somebody who's relatively more sophisticated, to look at the risk rating and then build up a little portfolio
Right.
based on that.
It's very interesting. I mean, for me, I've been here for a long time, and it always amazed me different products, how you can put them into a portfolio and watch it, right through the different market conditions. So it's quite interesting, like picking all the funds that you like, put them into a portfolio and see how it do.
Yes, exactly, because they all behave. I mean, in the short run, they all behave very differently.
Right.
In the long run, if you've been lucky enough to pick reasonably good funds, they should kind of even out over a 10-year period or so
Right.
forth.
Right.
Now, where does FSMOne fit in as part of my overall wealth and portfolio strategy?
Right. I think some people may think that it is good to have your investment monies spread out across different platforms. So you'll be using more than one platform.
Yes.
Previously, I think that is more the case in Malaysia because of a lack of choice. If you want to buy unit trust from certain fund houses, you got to go to certain agents to get from them, or you go from the banks and then you will face with more limited products. So what we have here is one platform, one-stop solution where you have access to all the products that you like in the investment space, right? Most of them, unit trusts, bonds, stocks, and managed portfolios. So for investors, you'll find that it's quite easy for you to manage your money. Everything is under one platform, and on a daily basis, you can just take a look and see how it has done. But for those people who cannot manage their greed and fear, right, better take a look once in a month.
And what's the minimum amount that you need to put in to open an account?
For opening an account, we don't have a minimum. You can open it up, open an account first, take a look, see what you like, and take your time to invest. The most important thing is you must understand and try to learn about this investment yourself.
And final question for you, and it's a very broad question. What are the key things one needs to do to be financially healthier?
Yeah, I think one needs to be very disciplined in setting aside some of their income to put into an investment, right? So savings is not going to be enough. You look at the rate of inflation, right?
That's
Compared
negative
to
now.
yeah,
The return is negative on cash.
yes, the real return is could be negative.
Yeah.
So on cash, the real return is negative. So you have to invest. Investing is not really a choice anymore, right? So you have to invest. So you set aside some, be disciplined, put aside some every month to invest in it. And you also have to learn along the way to control your fear and greed such that you do not trade excessively. Market cycles will happen. And when it happens, you just have to stick through it and stay invested.
Now, Weiyi, thank you very much. That was great advice to finish off as well.
Right. Thank you.
Now, we've been speaking to Wong Weiyi, General Manager of FSMOne Malaysia, on BizTech's Personal Finance Show. This video will be on our Facebook and LinkedIn sites, as well as our website, www.biztech.asia. Please subscribe or like our Facebook and LinkedIn pages.